Okay, so I was thinking about it yesterday, and I thought, everyone's talking about becoming a vice president, everyone wants to become an EVP, and I thought, let's talk a little bit about why you should be an EVP. What you got to recognize is that becoming an EVP is not the pinnacle of the business. It's kind of like the start of the business. You see, this is a unique business. It's not a network marketing business. It's not a franchise. It's different to all those things. The more you do this, the more you understand that. This is a full-time business that you can start part-time. Now, you can stay part-time if you like, but if you want to make a lot of money, it's a full-time business, okay? So let's look at a few reasons why you should become an EVP. So this is one for some of you, and again, maybe you can post a couple of these messages in there why you think you should become an EVP. So again, type in the chat window why you should become an EVP. Okay, one of them is if you're employed, you can sack your boss. I always think that's a good one. You can sack your boss. All right. Another reason, you get flexibility and freedom. I mean, you work for yourself now. And, listen, you still got to work, but you work around your life. So you build your life around you build your work around your life, not your life around your work. Okay. So for us, we schedule our work around our life. If we want to go away for the weekend, well, we just go away for the weekend. If we want to go on holiday, we go on holiday. In fact, the only thing that restricts us is school runs and term times. But, another few more years and that won't be an issue. We can go on holiday whenever we like with no worries about term times, which is great because that saves you a bunch of money as well. We can do the school runs. We can go to the school play and we can go to sports day. We can do all the things that many people can't get to do because you get flexibility and you get freedom. For those of you who are mission focused, you make impact in people's lives. You make impact directly and indirectly in more people's lives through your activity, through helping families, through your team helping families, but also helping people to get their goals. And I've got to say, when you become an EVP, in my view, that's the best part. It's great that we can help families, but the families I really want to help aren't the client families. I know, controversial, but that's not my focus. The client families, great that we help them. But the families I want to help the most are my Genistar family, my team, my hierarchy. These are the families I want to impact the most. I'm much more committed to help Esther achieve her goals than I am Joe Bloggs, who just became a client, to achieve their goals. I'm more committed to Esther because she's part of my Genistar family. As long as she chooses to be here, I will choose to believe in her and help her achieve her goals. That's just what you do, right, with family. Number 4, becoming an EVP it's a step to SVP, NSD, and SNSD. These are the big boy positions. Okay, EVP is the beginning of the good positions, right, where you make the most money. Even as an EVP, look, you can make $5,000 a month if you want to. You can make $7,000-8,000 a month if you want to, or you can make $2,500 if you want to. It's up to you because you're full time. The company just requires that you make a minimum of £25,000 because, from the FCA perspective, that's a full time income for it's more than national average take home. So they want you to be demonstrating a full time income because you've got to be full time, right? And we also recognize that some people who live in a different part of the world, maybe they're used to living on $1,000 a month, and $2,500 a month for them is a lot of money, and that's what they're happy with for the lifestyle they want. So the companies put that sort of minimum in there. It's a step. You've got to recognize this is a step. Just like when you become a rep, to become a team leader, you go through this process of learning, then you get your recruits, then you get to that first step, which is team leader. This is really the EVP position is really your first step into full-time. Now, some of you choose to go full-time sooner because in the hope of getting there quicker, right? You don't have to, but that can help. Okay, and if you're in a position to do that, that's great. But you gotta it's a step to here. And why you want to be an SVP is because that opens up a whole load of benefits to you. I mean, EVP, you get loads of benefits. I'm going to talk about that in a minute. Gosh, come on. So I'm trying to look on my things. It keeps moving. Oh. The other thing is, so I'm going to open it on my new gadget. The other thing is that you basically get, oops. All right, let me put that in the way. There you go. Here we go. Back. Gosh, I did 6 pages of notes here. Wow. I got to go quicker. You can basically 5 ownership. Okay. You get to own your own business. When you've been a vice president for 5 years, you then have ownership in your business. 10 years, you have even more kind of ownership in your business. That means it's a willable business. You can hand it on to your family. You know, in our family, we already know that Michael will end up taking over our business. You know, Esther, you know, in your situation, Sonny could end up taking over your Genistar business, and you get Sonny, or I get Micah to do what I do for my parents, where they get to override our business for the rest of their lives, so they can have a comfortable, I say retirement, but my mum never stops working, but just because she likes it. But they could retire if they wanted to, because there's enough money that comes from our business. Would it be awesome for our children to do that for us, right? If they wanted to. So you can own your business. You can create a retirement plan. It's better than any pension. When you get to EVP, you get more, okay? You get more at EVP. Everything is geared towards giving the EVPs, because EVPs is you're proper, full-on committed to the business. Part-timers are not fully committed to the business, okay? You get more income. You get, you know, you're on 100% contract now. And don't think that's not a big deal. Think about it right now. You might be a senior team leader. So like Eva, you're a senior team leader. You override your team. If they're team leaders, you override them by 10%. It's not that much really, right? If you get a new person, you override them by 35%. So if you go and get directs, you get a bigger override. When you get to EVP, your minimum override, minimum on everybody, is 30%. It's a huge deal. And probably more likely, if you've got a team, everybody's not going to be under the group leader. So more likely it's going to be 40 or 50%. If you're overriding a team at 40 or 50%, it's good money, right? You also get more access to competition. So there's always more spaces available on all of the trips for vice presidents. There's normally about 15 to 20 spaces available to win trips. So you can pretty much always win the trip if you're doing something, okay? So the rewards are great. Look, we get the odd bonus. For example, we got a surprise bonus this weekend. You know, this is not a standard thing, but last year it happened. This year it happened. Who's to say it won't happen next year? But maybe it won't. But they are, you know, we got the top 20 vice presidents, top 20 base shops got given a share in a £20,000 bonus. So we got a 2,700 and something pound bonus this week, just because our CEO wanted to give us a bonus. You know what? Bharat got a £4,000 bonus just because the CEO said, I want to recognize people. It's not part of the contract. It's just something he wanted to do. And the thing is, we're still young, you know, as a company. There will be a time that comes that they go on to have NSD bonuses, SNSD bonus, maybe even EVP bonuses. Did you know that in the US they have EVP bonuses, or RVP as they call it? I remember when we didn't have NSDs and all that kind of thing and SVPs, we had a period of time where there was an EVP bonus. The thing about our CEO, which is different to most, is he doesn't care about making millions and millions. He's got millions. He's not about the money. What he wants to do is the more money we make, the more money he wants to put back into us, the teams, the vice presidents. But it's the EVPs is where you access that kind of stuff. That's a big reason, because everything is more at EVP. Go out and do it and see for yourself. Okay. Number 7, you have a voice in the company. When you're at these meetings, look, in a big business that's been around 40 years, you don't have a voice. You do as you're told. These are the rules because we've decided we're making them. Our CEO doesn't work like that. We have a voice in the company. We get to, I mean, yeah, the SVP, working group, we get the biggest voice because we have the biggest impact, the biggest businesses, but the EVPs get their say on things, which is something that you just don't get in other businesses. I don't know what number that was, 7, 8. We've already covered this already, but minimum 30% override on your team. I mean, that's a big deal. Imagine if your team does 10,000 premium and you do 0 personal, that's still £3,000, And if you did some personal in there, you're going to get more, of course, right? So my pen's dying here. It doesn't like standing up for so long. You get a bigger income. So I want to just talk about an EVP income, okay? So, and there's different ways of doing this. I mean, listen, when you get to an SVP level, you can do it a little differently. You can do less personal. And, it's funny, when you first start out, it's a bit like this, okay? When I first started out as an EVP or even with a team, let's say this is 100% of my income, okay? This proportion here, right? I don't know why I colored in the biggest part. This proportion here was my personal, and this bit came from my team. That's where you are right now. For most of you, majority of your income comes from personal, a little bit by team. But as you build your team and your team gets bigger, let's go over here. As your team gets bigger, what you find is you might do a little bit less personal, but you get loads more from your team. You keep your personal level. Oops, sorry, my leg's falling down on my thing. You keep your personal or reduce it slightly because you're going to be taking care of your team a bit more, but your income goes up. And the great part is this bit here can go up and up and up and up because you can only do so much personal, right? Because you're limited by time. So the more that you do this part to get started, to get launched, but then this is the bit that grows through recruiting and building. And this bit, there's no ceiling on this. It just keeps growing and growing and growing and growing and growing. My income doesn't go down every year. It goes up every year. Every single year in the business, my income goes up, which, by the way, means that my mum and dad's retirement income goes up. Okay. So I want to talk about, okay. So let's say you, as a vice president, do 1 client per week. So Esther, is that realistic? For 1 client a week is realistic, right? So 1 client per week at £1,000 premium. Okay, that's 4,000 premium. Okay, gross. Okay, but it's 0.75. So you've made £3,000 income on your personal. Okay, if your team is doing, let's say you do 10 by 10, so 4 comes from you and 6 comes from your team. Now, as your team grows, more will come from them, right? But 6 comes from your team. Your minimum override on that is 30% minimum, but probably it's more likely to be 40% because not everyone on your team is going to be a group leader. So let's say 40%. So you're going to make about 1,800, right? From there. So say 2 grand. So straight away, that's 5,000 income. And that's just life cover. That's not including anything else that's coming and whatever. That's just life cover. All right. No bonuses, no nothing, just life cover, just doing 10 by 10, just you seeing 1 client a week. So your personal activity, 1 a week, but your team grows. And of course, when you do 20 by 20, 30 by 30, and this is great. You know what? You can go make 60 grand, 70 grand, 40 grand, whatever, as a vice president, helping 1 client per week. You can make that. Okay. But that isn't really what the focus is. The focus isn't about becoming an EVP. So, Eva, Shaheen, Esther, you guys shouldn't be focused on becoming an EVP. EVP is just like, it's the door that unlocks you into the next room, which is SVP. Now, SVP is a whole different different level of door, right? Because when you go to SVP, I want you to understand that when you're at EVP, it's about, look, our team, my base shop did 200 recruits so far this year, 211 or whatever it was, right? We were number 4. Our base shop was number 4 in recruits, premium, issued. We were number 4 across that in the company, which was funny that we were number 4 in all those. You know, only people that beat us on premium or on recruits. Funny enough, in fact, did you know Steve Jenkins, Barat, who else? Somebody else beat us on that, and we were number 4. Who do you think was number 5 on base shop recruits? Can anyone guess? Not somebody who was there. Who was number 5? Who did we beat? Any guesses? Bevin? No, we beat Bevin easy. I'll tell you who we beat. Arvin Burgos. Our base shop beat Arvin Burgos's base shop on submitted premium and recruits. But Arvin earned more money. He beat me on the leaderboard for money. So why did he beat me? Because our base shop kicked his butt. This is why it's not about EVP. It's about SVP and above. This is what you've got to focus on. See, as an EVP, you get 100% contract. When you produce an EVP, so your first generation EVP, you override them at 7.5%. Arvin's got 5 or 6 first generation EVPs he overrides. Your second generation EVP, you override at 5%. He's got a bunch of second generations he overrides. Your third generation EVP, you override at 3.75%. So think about it. If you're an EVP and you got 3 or let's say 5 EVPs, and then they've got some EVPs, and they've got some EVPs, right? There's another pen. You get 100% here. You override these ones here at 7.5%. He overrides these ones here at 5%. There's 5 of these, right? And here there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. There's 8 of these. Okay. And then probably there'll be more down here actually, because these guys would have produced as well, right? Eventually. Let's say on this example, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Let's say 10 of these, right? So think about it. He's getting 100% on his own team, right? 30% override. 7.5 on here. He's getting 7.5 on 5 of them, but he's getting an average of about 4% on 18 of them. So where does most of his money come from? Is it from first, second, or third generation, or combination? Somebody unmuted to give me the answer. Third. His most money. I mean, I don't know what the numbers are on this, but he's not getting his main money from his first generation, right? He's getting it from depth. That's why it's about going deep. Somebody's muted. Does that make sense? So stop thinking about just being an EVP. Think of EVP like senior team leader and just go get it done. Because when you get it done, here's the cool thing right now. Oh, this is Jose, that's a cool thing. I've done that. Look at that. I'm getting confused with my lids. Okay. So you see, this gets crazy. Now, think about even just with 3 EVPs. Okay, let's go through. Is this all making sense, guys? Yeah? Let me see if you're getting this. Even with 3 EVPs, right? Okay. If those EVPs do 10,000 each, Yeah. That is my EVP income based on one a week. We've said it over here. One a week is going to be like 6,000, right? Probably 6,000. By the way, it's going to be more than 5,000 because remember, once you've done this for a few years, you now start getting the 25% from 3 years ago, right? So if I'm doing that 5,000, I'm not really getting 5,000. I'm really getting 6,000 or 7,000 because I'm getting the 25% that's been deferred. Does that make sense with everyone? Okay, so let's just put that to one side for now. So let's say they're doing 10 each, right? Now I'm going to make about 2.5 grand from those ones. Yeah, I'll explain that in a bit. 2.5 grand from there. Plus I'm going to make my 5 grand or 6 grand or whatever it happens to be. So I'm going to make 7 to 8K as an EVP or an SVP. Now, there's something called an SVP bonus. Now, honestly, it's hard to get it with 3 EVPs. But if you go and get more EVPs, I won't go into exactly how it works, but basically, if you get more EVPs, then you get access to something called an SVP bonus. Okay? Now, you don't just hit this straight away. You've got to keep building. All right? But this is the cool thing about this. You're going to want to get to SVP bonus. All right? Because this is what happens with SVP bonus. I want you to understand this because I want you to see that EVP is just a step to get to these later levels. And this is where you make your big money. Okay? I have no doubt in my mind that I will make 500,000, 600, 700,000 plus in this business. I have no doubt in my mind. Why? Because I see it done and I understand this. And this is the thing you've got to keep looking at. Here's what you're focused on. No one does this, right? This is huge. So an SVP bonus, right? They pay you, there's an SVP bonus pot. So what they do is they take 5% of the entire premium for the company. So let's say the company does 1 million of premium, okay? 5% of that equals £50,000. So that's now a £50,000 pot that's going to be shared amongst every qualifying SVP. By the way, if just one SVP qualified for it and that was you, Esther, guess what? You get the whole 50,000. But it's more likely that a few people will qualify for it, right? Let's say 5 people qualify for it. Now they work it out pro rata times by your persistency and all that sort of stuff, but you might end up with 6, 7, 10,000 pound bonus on top of your already 7, 8, 9, 10,000 pounds. It doubles your income basically normally. Okay. You know, so you get 5%. Okay, let's say you've made like 6,000 personal, okay, from your base shop, okay, 6,000 from your base. You've overrode your EVPs at another, say, 2,500, okay. Now you got some of this bonus pot. Let's be conservative and let's say it's only what? Let's call it 3,000. So it's probably on the lower end, right? Let's call it 3,000. That's the lower end. That's from the 5% bonus pot. The other thing they do, get this. On each of your vice presidents, your direct vice presidents that you get 7.5%, they give you an additional 5%. So now you're not just overriding your EVPs at 7.5%, you're overriding them at 12.5%. If you've got 5 EVPs and you're getting an extra 5% on all of them, you can see that the more EVPs you've got. So Joy, you get 7.5% first generation override, but every one of your 5 EVPs direct, you get an additional 5%. So that means instead of just getting the normal 7.5%, you're getting 12.5% on your first generation EVPs. Right? So in this case, you're going to get, I don't know. I mean, basically, I don't even know what it works out at. but basically that's 250. So you're going to get at least another, what, 1,500 on top of that? You know, let's call that 1,500. So whatever that works out, 6, 8, 9, 10. So you're talking 13K per month, 150,000 a year at SVP level. Now, don't get me wrong. It doesn't just mean that you get to SVP and get bonus. I didn't come to SVP and just get SVP bonuses. And there is like qualifying periods and all that. And you need your EVPs to be doing, you know, certain levels and all that kind of stuff. And that's why, and again, I've had to learn these things the hard way. And it's no reflection on the EVPs or myself. It's just that you have to go through this learning period. Now, the good news is, because when we started, there wasn't an SVP bonus. We didn't understand how it worked. So you guys are getting to learn from all the mistakes I've made. So, you know, even talking to some of my EVPs this week about promoting EVPs, I'm going, yeah, but let's learn from what I did so that you can get SVP bonus quicker, right? And also you can help them be stronger. Shaheen said, what's the minimum that EVPs need to go for to be qualified? So basically the way SVP bonus works, without going into great detail, is there's a few criteria, but the EVPs have to do a minimum of 5 by 5 activated business. Okay, so they could do 10,000 issued, but it's unactivated because they're paying a bonus based on that. The whole hierarchy, your base shop has to do 10 by 10 activated. Okay, at least 3 of your EVPs have to do 5 by 5 activated, and you have to do 10 by 10, and the whole team has to do 35 by 35. So one of the challenges when you have less EVPs is that you might get, let's say you got 5 EVPs, and you get, this one's on holiday, this one has a bad month, this one does 10 recruits and 4,000 premium, this one does 15 recruits and or 15,000 premium and 4 recruits. This one has a you know, a 12 by 12 month, and this one, you know, has a 2 by 2 or whatever. So you might find that you end up doing 40,000, 50,000, 40 by 40, but if you don't get the right combination, or maybe these guys all do 10 by 10 and we do 50,000, but my base, we have a bad month, I'm away that month, and we actually do 9 by 10. Don't qualify. Plus, you have to do 2 months in a row. So you have a qualifying month, and then you do it. Now, we've done the qualifying month a few times, but we just haven't managed to go into that second month because it's about consistency. Now, the only way that, and this goes back to what we talked about before, about what you can control. See, I can't control what the EVPs do. When you pop out as an EVP, Esther, I can't control what you do. I can only hope that I've equipped you enough to go out and do what you need to do to get your 10 by 10, 20 by 20, whatever. You know, and again, you know, we can go into all sorts of reasons why this doesn't happen every time. There's many reasons. Some are legitimate reasons, some not so legitimate, but there are reasons for that, right? The point is, the only thing I can control is I can go and get more EVPs. Because the more EVPs wide I get, the more likely you are to get everything falling in place at the same time. The other cool thing is, it's the whole hierarchy that counts for the premium. So, for example, when the EVPs produce EVPs, the 35,000 premium is easy, but you're still qualifying with the first generation in terms of the structure, if you like. So, you know, it's I don't want to say it's complex. It's not super complex, but it is. That's why it's about producing. Now, think about it this way. So how does this benefit Esther? Well, even if you're not there, what it means is that we only get this bonus if we're helping not only our first generation EVPs hit their goals, but also if we're helping the people in our team hit their goals too. Because if I don't help Esther, Shaheen, Eva, Chris, etc., Reshma hit their goals, we don't do our 10 by 10. Doesn't matter what the EVPs do, they could smash it, but I don't get the bonus. So what it means is every single EVP and SVP I've got to focus on helping the people in their team hit their goals, because that's what gets them their bonus. I can't get an SVP bonus on my own. I can't get an SVP bonus by being amazing in the field or super talented. I can only get it by helping my base shop and my hierarchy achieve their goals. Now, I've got to put my hands up, and I'm going to publicly say this, that, you know, my focus has not been, for the last few years, has never been my base shop and my hierarchy. That's not been my focus. I've been engaged, I've been working with them, I've been helping, but I've always, because I've always just been in my whole life, my whole career, I've been a company man. I've done things for the company. You know, we did the workbook, we've done scripts, we did the PowerPoints, we've done videos, we've done the video site, we've done all these things that helped everybody, which took time away from our base and our hierarchy. And that's me. I got to take responsibility. I did that. I would be further ahead if I hadn't helped the company, you know. And so, you know, I got some coaching from Coach Lloyd Toma recently, and that really hit me. I'm doing too much for everybody in the company because I'm a company man. I need to focus on my base shop and my hierarchy. And so I want to tell all of you, again, if you're watching the video, I am committed to you, the base shops and the hierarchy. You know, it's funny, they actually asked me in the SVP meeting to do something. They needed something doing, and everybody looked at Steve. So could somebody do that? And they all looked at me, and I put my head down like this. And then they said, oh, Steve, you put your head down. And I went, yeah. I said, yeah, I don't want to do it. I'm like, now normally old me would have gone, yeah, I'll sort that out. Don't worry, I've got the capacity. But that takes time away from you. It's been a real growth period for me over the last few months since Lloyd came in, getting some great coaching. Listen, we all need coaching, and I got some great coaching. So right now, I'm not focused on helping other vice presidents. I'm not focused on helping the company. That's not my job. My job is helping you, helping Tim Jones, Esther O'Brien, Gary Lewis, Isabel Polanco, Debbie, Albert, Bernadette, Blessing, Shaheen, Eva, Reshma, and so on. They're just the names I can see, you know. So if I didn't mention your name, you too, right? That's what I got to focus on. And I've got to tell you, it's been tough. You know, I found it really difficult to do that, because it's hard for me to go, oh, I won't help you. If somebody from the company says, can you help me with this? My natural inclination is, yeah, okay. But yeah, you know, now I have to kind of go, no, I can't do that. I don't have the capacity. So just to wrap up, your focus should be finding and producing EVPs. I hope you get this, Esther, before you go, even before you are one. Your focus is finding EVPs, Gary Lewis, even before you are one. Your focus is finding EVPs, Tim, even before you are one. You're looking for your next EVP because your focus is SVP, not EVP. SVP and SVP bonus is your goal, not EVP. EVP is just the door that leads to those things. None of you came in this business to make a few quid. You want to make tens of thousands a month. That's what you have to understand. You've got to change your mindset. EVP is where the real business starts, is not the pinnacle. Question is, when are you going to start your business properly? When do you want to start your business properly? What are you waiting for? There's a guy that became a team leader, a vice president in 6 weeks. What are you waiting for? Tim, you could be an EVP in 2 months. What are you waiting for? Gary, you could be an EVP in 2 months. What are you waiting for? Eva, you could be an EVP in 2 months. I know you're focused on it, but yeah, what are you waiting for? Shaheen, same thing. You guys all have the ability to be a vice president by February. The only thing that will stop you doing that is the 2 things I mentioned earlier on. Your personal activity, your personal attitude. Don't defeat yourself with negative talk. Don't defeat yourself with excuses. Just decide you will do whatever it takes. You'll put your best, your best, your best. You know, people always talk about doing their best. but most people never do their best. I don't know if I heard this thing once by Jerry Seinfeld, and he was talking about how, you know, when someone says to you, oh, you saw John, yeah? So, hey, if you see John again, give him my best. Is that really your best? Sending a message with somebody else, is that your best? Surely your best is to actually contact them yourself, right? That's not your best. You've got to do your best. When do you want your business to start? You know what? I can promise you this. Eva, Shaheen, Gary, the other people I mentioned earlier, the people that are really going for it, right? I promise you this. It's much more fun learning at 100% commission with a minimum 30% override on your team than it is learning at 70 or 60% with a 10% override on your team. It's much more fun doing it that way. This is a full-time business that you get to start part-time. You're going to be thinking SVP. Yes, go get EVP by February, but go get SVP by convention. Guys, I'm really proud of you. I'm proud to be in this business with you. You know, there's so many things that are coming. As the business grows, we get more. EVP means more everything. There'll be rewards, there'll be bonuses, there'll be car programs, there'll be trips, more trips. You know, there'll be, I mean, just more, you know. Everything's easier to win as an EVP. Stop thinking EVP is hard. It's simple. It just takes work. Have a fantastic week, guys. Really proud of you. And looking forward to seeing some of you just really smash it. When I look around that room yesterday, I didn't see anybody more talented than you guys. People came up to us. Some of the guys that just made EVP came up to me and said, thank you so much, Steve, for all your videos. I use them in my team training. You've really helped my team. Thank you so much. Now, I just think, I said, oh, listen, no problem. I appreciate it. I appreciate the recognition or whatever. But, you know, hey, you guys are doing great. And I cheerlead them. But honestly, guys, you have everything you need in this team to become an SNSD, an NSD. I'm going to become an SNSD. I'm going to make £1 million a year. Some of you are going to come with me and become SVPs and NSDs and SNSD yourself. Some of you are going to watch. But you get to choose by your personal attitude and your personal activity. Have a fantastic week, guys. Proud of you. Take care.